important because things have shifted seismically, and we knew this was coming. And the thing is, what is it? Pigs get slaughtered. Remember, Kramer used to say it all the time, and there's a lot of profit take. Everybody, and there's a great scene. I was telling my friend, he's in the commercial real estate business in Phoenix, and I was having a conversation with him. I said, when people really get made, because now you have people who really are millionaires, and you have people who are really truly worth something. One of the things that I miss is the fact that there's actually really rich people and that there's really poor people. We don't have that anymore. It's like everybody's rich, everybody's poor, everyone's got something. It's all conspicuous consumption. You can't tell who's he what's it's anymore. And so we have this level of everybody deserves is entitled to, and everyone's got $1 million house. I mean, if you drive through Queen Creek in Gilbert, Arizona, it's like, oh, I can hear the pop already. The pop has already happened in my head, right? And it's like these people are walking around like zombies. They have no idea what is going on behind them. And there's this great scene in this movie called Margin Call, and it has the CMBS in the back. And that's why I sent Tigo this article this morning is about, well, they thought that there would never be another housing bubble. It's just not a housing bubble. It's something completely different.
It is.
It's an equity bubble, which means you still have a house. It's still secure. You have the best interest rate of your life. Aha! But there's something else here that's absolutely key. You might end up owning your house for the rest of your life, given where we're at right now. And that's going to be very interesting. And I know Tracy would be jumping in here right now, cutting me off. And I mean,
no. And I think this is the elephant in the room when you talk about the housing market right now, right? It's, I did a presentation, Eddie, for the Realtor Association here last week on how to look at what's going on in the housing market. And the thing that I found, so you get this. So I just did a quick search, just a news search in the main, Google search for news real estate. And these are the headlines I saw. U.S. foreclosure activity sets post-pandemic highs for the first quarter of 2022. Okay. So that was the headline. You actually read the story. It's, yes, we had a foreclosure set a new high because, well, there were 0 foreclosures last year, right? So anyway, but it's stuff like that, right? U.S. housing market has peaked. That was from the Atlantic. I know that's your favorite paper to read.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, I know that's your favorite. But Albuquerque Journal, and just last week, less house, more money. And that's true. I mean, that's to me, that's the story in housing right now is the affordability crunch. And it's not just purchase, it's also rent. We
saw those rents though, but the flip side of that, which is something that if you were able to take advantage of and you were in a position of good credit, you are able to buy up to 10 houses, and you could have taken advantage of this, and you would have loved the rental market. Because rents in New Mexico climbed higher. Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what I've done, right? I've maxed out the number of single-family mortgages I can get at ridiculously low interest rates that we've had over the last couple of years, right? And I'm and I will say, I just so I can be key here, I am still optimistic on the housing market from a values standpoint. I do not see a pop coming to Albuquerque from a value standpoint. The problem I have is the affordability and the fact that first-time home buyers are getting priced out of this market. And my frustration is with the policymakers in not realizing that this is a big problem in our market.
Let's go back because this is really important, and we don't often say. And by the way, Tigo, we're going to go all the way to 11 o'clock. We're running through all the credit, running over.
Oh no, man! Do I have that much content? No, I know. I can talk for housing for hours. Yeah,
we can. And we're going to this morning.
Yeah, great.
So let's sort of pick this stuff apart. This is super important. Okay, so when we talk about the difference between Albuquerque and why you're bullish on Albuquerque, is the very same reason I'm telling people don't miss the opportunity. All right. There's something else that New Mexico has that all the other things, all the other places that people have flocked to. New Mexico isn't Arizona. It isn't Texas. It isn't Colorado. But we've got a political shift that's going on because it can't get much worse. All the population has moved all the other places.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who's been left sort of abandoned for the last, what? We missed the whole thing.
Right.
What's the opportunity that exists right here? Where are all those people going to start flocking? Who has the ability to absorb growth from a water perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
From a population perspective, from a business startup perspective? We just have to sort of shift everything around just a little bit. And all those populations, I mean, you can't get around anywhere in Phoenix, Arizona without driving an hour. You can't get around Dallas, Texas without driving any place an hour and a half. You can't get anywhere in Denver without driving. Have you seen the crowds that are in there, as well as Salt Lake City?
Yeah, I've been to Denver in a while, but I've heard Salt Lake City is
unlivable.
Yeah,
but Mexico is livable, and as we change that around, we have the ability to make up the difference between, and it's the same as El Paso, between here and Phoenix, and here and Salt Lake, and here. Those home prices are going to stay where they are, but they're so much more expensive than New Mexico.
Right.
It's affordable. And everyone's zooming and everyone's going anywhere. So where's all the money going to be made? Right here in the state of New Mexico, folks. Yes, that's exactly one of the reasons why it's so, and we have the Four Seasons. It's miserable in Phoenix right now. Absolutely miserable. Here you go.
No, I know. You know, I own a house in Phoenix, and our son and daughter-in-law live there, and we get there all the time. And I mean, that's why we bought a house there, just because we do get there quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, August, no, I'll pass. You know, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Phoenix in August. You know, I mean, but it is booming. You know, you go over there, and that town is booming. Cranes everywhere. Construction everywhere, single family home construction everywhere. Let me just tell you a little story about that. I know, I mean, Phoenix is like the poster child for housing. I hate to say appreciation, depreciation, but it really has been, right? It kind of has always led when things go up, and it's always led when things go down, right? And
Las Vegas more than that, by the way.
True.
A little more elasticity in Vegas than Phoenix. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, no. That's a really good point. But what's happening over right now is they're building as fast as they can, and that's true here in Albuquerque too. But it's just at a much smaller scale. We just can't scale as much as they can. There's a lot of construction going on. And people are very bullish on that market as well. But it has gone up a lot in the last couple of years. Extraordinary amounts, and much more than here. You know, and so I think the question is this is what I see when I hear people talking about the bubble, right? The coming bubble in the housing market. They say home prices have gone up 30% in 2 years. Home prices have gone up 40% in 2 or 3 years. It's got to pop. It's like, well, you have to take the other things into the equation, right? You have to take the demand and the supply into the equation. The reason that home prices have gone up so much is there was a pent-up demand, and there was a lack of supply for the last 10 years, and now we're paying the price for it. And in the sense that home prices have gone up very fast. The other problem I see coming, Eddie, and you talked about this here a minute ago, was we've got these people, homeowners now, that are locked in at these 3% mortgage rates, let's say. And and they're locked in their home price is locked in now, right? Their mortgage payment is locked in for the next, let's say, whatever years. They have equity in their home, and their wages are going to keep going up. So what's their motivation to sell when they say, well, you know what, I'd like to maybe move up to another house, and suddenly they go, oh shoot, I got to pay 5.5% mortgage interest rate now. I'm not going to sell. So we're seeing this, and I think it's going to get worse, which is the tenure in homes is going to increase. People aren't going to turn over as much, and I'm concerned about that from a supply side. So I know I'm kind of all over the place, but there's so much there. Yeah.
So you're dropping all this,
Yeah.
these brilliant points, and let's talk about the benefits of somebody staying in their 2%, 3% mortgage, and let's also evaluate, which you can because you're the statomatic. We know that the average. Let's start looking at the square footage of the homes that people have purchased.
Right. Yeah.
Have people? Let me ask you a question.
Oh, yeah.
I'll direct traffic by asking you these questions.
Okay.
Have people over the last 5 years bought smaller homes or bigger homes?
It's actually been relatively flat, and what's new construction though has grown slightly in the last few years.
Okay, so
because they could.
Okay, the size of a home has gotten larger,
right?
And that has to do, and people have redesigned their homes so that they can accommodate their new quote unquote live work. Live work is no longer out there. Live work is at home with Amazon deliveries, with drone drops, and with the fact that we've got 2.9. Well, let's design the future.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
I'll tell you all the
things. We're talking about Albuquerque. Let's talk about Albuquerque, right?
I will get there.
Yeah.
We have to talk about it overall perspective.
Sure.
So we've already identified that Albuquerque is a market that people will invest in going into the future, because one of the things that you have is it's at the bottom and it's got to level out with everything else, right? Phoenix, Las Vegas, Salt Lake. There's benefits from being this big hole in the donut. Oklahoma City, everything, all the rest of those places. Yep. We have 4 seasons that are livable. We know that people, by and large, 36% are have pretty stable jobs because of the state, federal, and local employment. Okay, and those aren't going anywhere fast right now. Now we have something else that's sort of factoring in, and that's the fact that we've got this telecommuting trend that's taking place.
For sure.
So owning a home for a longer period of time also does something else, which we haven't talked about, which is the reason. The first thing a person asks you when they walk into the house, I like the neighborhood. I like the neighborhood. How good is the neighborhood? How safe is the neighborhood? You can't talk to that because it's basically called redlining. You can't speak to any of the terror. But it's the very first thing that they want everybody to ask. You now have stability of families, cultures, neighborhood parks. If you go any place in Queen Creek or Gilbert or any place like that, it's very interesting, right? They all have these common areas that are like, oh my gosh, this is like a water park in Albuquerque. And it's in the middle of Queen Creek. So the stability is so good that people's values are going to maintain. And I think this is when you have these 2-3% mortgages where you're saying that people aren't going to be motivated to sell. My gosh, we might actually have stability in homes. Unlike Las Vegas, where people don't know their neighbors, they resell those things within 2 to 3 months instead of 2 to 3 years. And oftentimes, even faster than that. And I think what you're going to be building is a better city overall, just by dumb luck.
Yeah.
Because of the overall markets, Tigo.
Yeah. No. Again, a lot to unwrap there. I will say from an amenity standpoint, Albuquerque is lacking, right? When you compare us to those places, like you go to downtown Chandler, downtown Gilbert, where they have those districts. We just don't have that. And I know as long as I've lived in Albuquerque, which is 30 some years, downtown is going to get revitalized, right? But
exactly.
Sorry, I don't want to go down that road, but the point is, it's like, we could have some more amenities. And I know that the thing I've always heard is when we get to 1 million population in the metro Albuquerque, that's the thing that's going to push us over the top and start bringing in some of those amenities. But it's got to be driven from the policymakers.
Yeah, well, a little bit, but I think more it's going to be a lot of good dumb luck by the fact that we're going to benefit, that there's no other place. People can't move into a city of 5, 6, 7 million. It's better for them to move in a city about our size, mid-size, because of the commutes and all the rest stuff. But we do have to have those amenities.